Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcast. You're watching on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You can find us there as part of Empire Media, AMPIRE. You know that. Always much appreciated when you tune in, and you can read my work on ESPN.com. I have a story up already just about all the goings on with the Commanders as they get close to the 4 p.m. trade deadline on Tuesday. And a couple programming notes. I will have a little bit of a film review Tuesday morning, not the first and foremost on your mind right now, but I want to kind of look at Sam Howell, his progression on Sunday. And then I'll be back on Tuesday night, either with just a quick podcast about the trade deadline, possibly the live show. If not the live show Tuesday, it'll be Wednesday night with Bram Weinstein, the voice of the Commanders, who will be busy with Halloween on Tuesday night. Anyways, I bring in my pal Nicki Jhabvala from the Washington Post to go over what happened in the 38-31 loss to the Eagles. Of course, that's a little bit secondary to everything else going on here. And so we're going to get into the trade deadline in a few minutes, but I am curious, like, where is this? They're 3-5.
Yeah.
And I know, like, they're going to keep saying, hey, there's 9 games left. Anything can happen. We've seen them do this twice against the Eagles and then not follow it up. Where are they at in your mind?
I don't think they're close. I mean, I'm at the point where I don't think you can claim you're close if you continue to make these same mistakes. Close implies that you're a few tweaks away from, being back in the win column, and that has not happened. So yeah, I think the franchise is in a tough spot right now. I mean, they do have talent. They've had potential for more than 4 years now. They've just never realized it. So it's not a great, state for them right now. I think there could be quite a bit of change coming soon.
Right. And that's obviously going to be the topic a little bit later. And then throughout, probably, to be honest, we're entering November for the next 2 months. That's going to be the topic, because if after they lost the first time to Philly, you kind of came away thinking, oh, maybe they went toe to toe with the Eagles, and it wasn't a moral victory, but it was oh, maybe. And then you lay the big egg against the Bears, and then you beat the Falcons on the road. Any road win is a good win.
Yeah.
Then you lay an egg in the Meadowlands. So you can't sit here and say, it's really hard to sit here and say, like, oh, well, listen, look at what the offense did. Well, look at what the defense did.
Right.
And that's the problem. So and that's supposed to be the bell cow of this team. So, there's
and that's the group that's been in the same system for 4 years, where many of the veterans have played together for 4 years. Like, that's a group that should be the most consistent, and they've been honestly just as inconsistent as anybody. Even within this game, I thought they played, really well. They started fast. All 3 phases started fast, but they lit up on the gas, and it's just, you got the chunk plays from AJ Brown again. There were some questionable decisions from the staff as well, but you can't give up 38 points to this team and expect to win.
Well, let's get to some of those decisions. So first of all, like the one that keeps jumping out to me is the lack of a challenge on the 4th down play by Devontae Smith, the catch. And I didn't see it live. I mean, because you can't tell. But when you see the replay, like, the entire sidelines is going crazy.
Yes.
The Eagles are hurrying up to the line.
Right.
I don't know that I'll ever understand why they didn't challenge that.
I never will either. And Ron's, I'll say excuse. His excuse was, I didn't see it on the screen. We didn't see replay. Well, you have how many?
And they said no one in the booth was telling me either.
Right.
But
I mean, I don't think that's a good enough reason. Again, you had how many people, players and coaches on the sideline telling you should throw the challenge, the flag, throw it. And they should find a way to be able to say it. They did show the replay on the broadcast. Like, it's out. Like, that should have never have happened. That was a 4th and 4, 17-yard catch, and 2 plays later they're in the end zone.
Right. I mean, that to me, if you see, again, I'm going to say, like, I don't know what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But mother bleeper, like, the entire sidelines is telling you it's not a catch. Like, the people who are 10 feet from the play are saying it's not a catch. The Eagles are, with gimpy leg Jalen Hurts, are trying to hustle up to the line.
Right.
Why?
It's hard for us to see it because we're, like, in the second level of the stadium. We're pretty high up, but the broadcast immediately went to replay and saw it. People on the sideline saw it, so there's really no reason for the team to not see it or to not make it or not throw a challenge like that.
It was too important to me. It's too important of a play. if it had been, even if it's like, if it was early in the game, you're not sure, okay, whatever. It's a 4th down and 4.
Right.
If it's incomplete, take your freaking chance that it's incomplete, right?
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. It was worth the gamble on all fronts. Like absolutely. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. And maybe we can go round, or we not even go round and round. We can go back and forth on this. We're going to say the same things.
Yes.
They should have done it. It made no sense at all. And even the last one where there was incomplete or it's complete, then they went, because Darius Slay's hurt, then they go to New York and it's incomplete.
Right.
And they did challenge that one too. Now, I don't have as big a problem with challenge, even though if it's coming from New York.
It's not the challenge that I have a problem with. It's the ruling from, the officials, because they did rule it complete initially, then they just suddenly changed the call, and if it was incomplete initially and New York, assisted in that, it seems odd that they would have accepted the challenge from Rivera. So nothing really added up. And, we asked them, officials about it post game. We didn't really get, in my mind, didn't get much clarification there. So I feel like that was a play that, that shouldn't have happened, how all that transpired.
And it shouldn't have.
That basically sealed it,
It definitely did. And I go back, I'll never understand how you don't throw a flag. I just don't, I don't want to go back to it. The other, you talk about questionable decisions. There's only one other, a big one on defense. And before the game,
there's another one, but
we'll start with is it Emmanuel Forbes?
Yeah, putting, lining up Emmanuel Forbes, against AJ Brown. Like we saw what happened with that the first time around. Sure enough, lines up again against Brown again, and he gets torched. And it's, they say in practice he looks better. We'll give him another chance, but in my opinion, you're basically setting the kid up to fail. If you don't truly believe he's ready, yes, he's a 1st-round pick. He should be ready to play these kinds of receivers, even though AJ Brown is an exceptional one. But he showed he's not in multiple games. It wasn't a 1-game fluke. So you're putting your team at risk in doing that. And he got torched.
But the the sad thing for them is that nobody else was doing them either. And that's because Benjamin St. Juice is on him. And he even's like on the last one, I think they're getting defensive backs are frustrated with how they can play in this league. However, other teams somehow survive. And so I know they tried to be physical with them and he tried to jam them. And AJ Brown doesn't get moved off the spot very easily. And so he's the one-handed catch is tremendous. So there's things that guy does against everybody.
Yeah.
But no, you can't stop it. However, we know that Forbes has already had trouble against them and you're putting him out there at sometimes without safety help. Right.
Exactly. I mean, that first one he got beat on, I think it was the first one. I mean, they had a single high safety deep. Like, what are you doing? Again, a lot of these decisions just don't add up. And I go back to the 4th and 1 where they threw like a short pass to Terry on the outside that Philly easily broke up. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's your call on 4th and 1.
Well, Mike, what I didn't like on that one is, it might have passed, but I want to keep a run alive. And as soon as you go to empty, then you're, now it's a quick pass. I get it. But, and if you get that, it's a key play. Like I'm okay with them going for it because if you get that, then Philly doesn't go down and score at the end of that half.
I think they absolutely should have gone for it. I mean, that was what, 53 yards?
53.
Yeah. Which is, Joey hit the 61 yarder. But generally that's right up around his threshold.
But it's funny. I think I'm going to botch this. But I was looking at his career here from 55 and more. It's like 4 out of 5. It's actually, 50 something. It's actually pretty good. Yeah. However, I don't mind them going for it because again, if you get it, then you're I mean, they would have, if they convert that, you're not giving up points.
Yeah. It was just how they went about trying to get it. That's not the play. You typically want to.
And and even going back to Forbes too. And it's funny because the first time he's out there, I mean, you notice it, right? Yeah. And I don't think Jalen Hurts noticed the first time. I'm going to be quite sure that AJ Brown told him, listen, man. I'm
sure he was informed on the sideline.
Because they did go after him every time.
It wasn't for him and St. Jude's covered.
Right, they did. And again, AJ Brown might be like my Eagles counterpart, Tim McManus, had little things like, should he be considered for league MVP? Yeah. He's that good right now. So it's not a shame to give up something to him. But like when you have a young guy who, hey, I know you had this horrible game here, but you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, let's go
Right,
see if you're
right.
different. I mean,
That's-
it's a hard.
I don't
And but
think
the other thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like the trickle down from the Forbes thing is then, and this wasn't bad coverage. It was a blown assignment. So I just shouldn't go on to like the Danny Johnson one, that
Yeah.
whether or not I don't know if he should have been back there or not. I mean, assuming like just based on the coverage,
Yeah.
but that's not a getting beat. That's a blown assignment.
it's
That's
blown.
different than
Yeah.
just getting beat.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, no,
but you can go back to Emmanuel.
I totally forgot I was going to say.
You're going to say something on Emmanuel, probably very witty, very good, but no, just about,
Yeah.
you know, you put him right back in that fire a few weeks.
I mean, it's obviously a technique thing with him that's getting him, because he's got the speed, he's got the length, he can tackle when he wants to tackle. It's a technique thing with him as he's turning his hips to go back. And I don't think you can correct and not perfect, but feel solid enough with any technique change in that amount of time to warrant putting him back out there in that situation.
And it's funny because we did talk to Daryl Green before the game,
Yeah.
and
Daryl
he
Green
was
is a
being
big
honored.
fan.
Yeah, Daryl told us, and I put this up on, if you want to go check out on the Empire page, I put up his little clip from his interview about it would take him only 10 minutes to do it. And like God bless Daryl Green. I covered him, like the guy. It's hard to correct this stuff in 10 minutes. As much as smart as that dude is, it's, you know what I mean? Like, but it's, you know,
Says he needs only 10 minutes.
only 10 minutes. But, you know, and I mean, and I know a lot of people say, oh, use their wisdom. It's fine, but it takes more than 10
Right,
minutes. It
exactly.
takes consistent work over and over. And how many guys want to devote their time to that? Right. Whatever. Anyways, the bottom line is Forbes has to get better for this to work out. On the flip side, we're going to a couple minutes about this and we'll get to the trade deadline real quick. Sam Howell.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him today?
I thought he looked sharp. You know, I liked, outside of the, you know, questionable play calls that we pointed out earlier, I liked how they mixed up, you know, get some quick passes in there. You can take some deep shots. I thought he played well. I mean, I thought the line helped him tremendously too, with Tyler Larson at center and Chris Paul stepping in at left guard for Sadiq. I thought they protected well. I mean, he had only one sack. He didn't have a single sack for the first 3 quarters of the game. So I thought he looked good. You know, that the interception that was intended for Terry, I mean, put too much air under that one, you know.
Tight spot. Too.
Yeah, but I mean, put up career numbers. I thought he looked good, certainly good enough to win this game. But again, it's all about consistency with all units on this team, you know, not just Sam or the offense, with everybody.
And, you know, I really like what we saw from him, but that's 2 games now against the Eagles. I think he's done very well. Mm-hmm. And it shows you how do you build on it? Because now a lot of this season is about Sam Howell's development. Right. And so was this a big step for him? And I do think like there were the 2 drops by Terry McLaurin late in the game. Now, some of that too is getting on the same page with the quarterback, where you're expecting the ball versus where you're getting it. And so I think that's part of it. However, those balls were there. You got to make the catches, but that's another step in the evolution of this offense. And for Sam and the receivers to be on that quote unquote same page, which they've been wanting to be on, but it was a good step. The protection, like you said, held up. Tyler Larson and Chris Paul, and the one went to Pringle, where Antonio Gibson gets overrun. It should have, but then Chris Paul gets beaten on that one too. But, you know, he had a couple blocks in the run game. So, you know, but the line held up.
Yeah. On the whole, the line played their best game of the season, in my opinion. So
can they build on that? Do you think this is I mean, I guess we'll find out next week if it's a 1 game thing or not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like taking it game by game. Did Sam show progress this week? Did he show I don't think, sort of like Sam, like Emmanuel Forbes' technique, I don't think it happens in week to week increments. I think it's on the whole, it's a trend. You know, he could still come out and have a bad game in 2 weeks, and I think it's you want to see that trend line. You know, it's not the week to week thing. So yeah, I think he is progressing, but I think it's more a product of reps and getting out there and just seeing what he sees. I mean, you know, just understanding what the defenses are presenting you each week. That's where I think the progress comes. So, you know, I know we all want to measure it each week, but I don't think it works like that.
It's harder because you're seeing something different every week too. And you're going to see Wink Martindale is going to attack you with the Giants differently than the Eagles are. And Bill Belichick next week can attack you differently than these guys did. So that's where it's always about like, so I think for him, it's always, how are you progressing and like what areas, and there's something different each week. And are you just becoming more consistent?
Right.
Are you making good decisions? And by and large, he seems to be.
Yes.
And so like, that's a good sign. Like the operation is good.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
ball security has been much. I know he had the fumble, but but still, like overall, it's been better at the key, so not bad. Anyways, trade deadline.
Yeah.
So here we go. Like, this is the big thing. And we all know like that, should this game have mattered?
Yeah.
First of all, should this game matter to what they're doing? Should, like, if they had won or lost, does it matter? Given what?
No, because I think the reality is the same no matter what. They can't afford to keep all starting defensive linemen for the long term and still build the roster the way they want to. It's Sam Howell is progressing. You still don't fully know if he's your guy of the future. Will you need to pay a quarterback in the near future? There's still so many positions that they need to address that you can't do that when you're allocating $100 million to one group. So should it have? No, because they still need to, decide the future of that group. And there's a lot of money there. I was told there's an offer on the table. It's up to the team to decide kind of where they want to go with it. My view is, at best, and it's not a guarantee, at best, if he leaves in either Montez or Chase leaving free agency, you get a 3rd round pick. But if you make a big signing, that comp pick is a wash. Right. So if you get a 3rd or better now, that's a guaranteed pick that I would think you take it, because it gives you something solid that's guaranteed.
Right. And I think the hard part is, I'm not sure that, people talk about the Bradley Chubb deal. That was such a different, it's totally different because they were negotiating the contract for a while. Also, the market is a little bit stronger with potential free agent defensive ends this year, which is why you may only get that 3rd. And there are going to be a few teams. I know there are a few teams interested, and it's just a matter, but one team with the offer, but I know there's some others interested. But will they make an offer? Would they go to that point and top that? And I'm not sure that. But I mean, I think we're like this video won't come out till Monday morning, the podcast tonight. But as we stand here now, like, I mean,
I don't see any reason that Montez Sweat would be back with Washington. Right. I just think they have to do it for the long-term future. It gives him a chance to get a bigger contract elsewhere. It just makes sense for all parties involved.
And I think the way like Josh Harris works is like Ron referenced, I think the other day, the analytics and making the decision.
The analytics.
That's right. Well, and that's right. That's the analytics. How much do you invest at one group, the 4 linemen? And so that's where it's going to come down to. But then also, like, it is like you're weighing, what's the pick now? Well, what if this happens in the offseason and this player signed? You want to do this? Well, then that's going to cancel out. So you're taking a gamble with that. But and I don't think there's going to be a fire sale here. I don't sense that at all.
I mean, the fact of the matter is they don't have a ton of players with value that's high enough that another team would want to give up assets to take them on. They have good players. They have players teams would probably like to sign in free agency.
There are players that they've been calling that they've called on who are not available.
Right. Like Jonathan Allen. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you got like, you don't think someone would call on Terry McLaurin? Yes. Of course they are. Yeah, of course.
But they're not
available.
Right.
So not available. So then you got Chase Young, and I think
Chase Young, Montez. Honestly, I thought Curtis is now injured. So that, but I did think of the skill players. He had value that, just seeing what he did this season, even last season, he hasn't been healthy a ton. He's still got a lot of money left on his deal. But maybe you could say he could really help a team. Like, I look at a team like the Niners, who have a lot of cap space and a lot of picks to spend and are in it to win now.
That's a team
to watch no matter what.
Correct.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so, but I don't know if they'll get to that point. That's the thing. They are aggressive but measured at times too. So
if there's a team that is willing to take on a rental for the remainder of the season and give up assets to do so, they would be one.
Right. Absolutely. And then the other name that you might hear because of the position he plays is Jacoby Brissett. clearly, like, and people wonder, like, this isn't up to Jacoby. This is up to the team. So, and when when I talk about it, it's always like, this is what you're hearing, but obviously they value him as a mentor to Sam Howell. And it's the, just in case, like they're only 3-5. They're still technically alive. But if something happened to Howell, then you're covered. However, I mean, I expect him back.
I do too. I think it's, it's more the fact that there's still 9 games left, and Sam, they protected him better today. He didn't take nearly as many hits, only 1 sack, but the fact that he's taken as many as he has up to this point, you need some insurance policy, and Jake Fromm ain't it.
Right. And again, the mentorship thing, you cannot underscore that, because if this is about developing Sam, he's a key part of that. And I think that can't, but I know like the Browns have quarterback issues. Then Kirk Cousins now just went down for the Vikings. So if some teams comes throwing a higher pick than you anticipated,
then you take it.
Then you take it, because you're not getting it.
You're not in position, like, he's on a 1-year deal. You're not going to get it back. You take the draft capital because you need that more than you need Jacoby Brissett for 9 games.
Now, are you talking like, what would be your baseline for him?
Question. Third and up.
You think, because like right now, you're not getting anything but a low round pick for him if you did. But if there's a team that's desperate, then you say, even like a 4th, what about a 4th?
4th would make me seriously consider.
I don't think you're getting that for him otherwise.
Yeah, I would take it. At this point, I would take it. You need the draft capital, But
it's, to me, the draft capital for him, it's got to be 4th or higher to even consider.
Yeah.
But good Lord, if somebody gives you a 3rd, but I don't see that happening. So
I don't either. I don't. Minnesota to me could be really interesting. The Browns maybe, but that felt more like a, fan media narrative. Like, we really like the guy. He was so much better than what we have now, but are we realistically going to give up a mid to late round pick for Jacoby? Probably not.
Well, because Deshaun Watson's supposed to be back within maybe in a couple weeks.
Right. Exactly. And yes, PJ Walker has not been very good for them, but again, we're talking, what, 4th round pick? That's, you don't just, that's not something you just give up easily. Yeah.
So that's, I think that's where we're at with all these guys. Like Antonio Gibson, I don't see anybody for him.
I don't see anybody giving up assets for him.
No. So I think that's where we're at. Montez, maybe Chase. I think Chase's durability questions will linger and will depress his market a little bit. Don't you think?
I would. Yes.
Okay.
I think that will be enough to scare off teams, which may actually help the Commanders in they want to tag him or something. So get another year to prove himself and then decide his long-term future.
Right. And I think that's a very possible scenario here. I think so. To me, like, just like you, like, if a guy's getting traded, it's going to be Montez.
Yeah. So. He's got the value. He's proven. There are suitors out there. So
there you go. So that's where we're at. That's it. Thanks, Nicki, for joining me. You want to tell them where you can find you? WashingtonPost.com or on, X? On X at Nicki Jhabvala, NICKIJHABVALA. There you go. You heard it. Thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks for Nicki for joining me. And then Tuesday morning, the film review, because in this season, who doesn't want another film review, right? And then Tuesday night, I'll be back, whether with the live stream, I'll let you know, or with just another podcast wrapping up some of the trade deadline stuff. And then we'll go for there. That's it. Thanks. Talk to you next time.